Gilbert, thank you very much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. All things considered.
All things considered, it is. Today I actually wanted to talk to you about the post-pandemic era risks. So first of all, what keeps you awake at night?
Listen, not very much keeps me awake, but there are a number of key area of concerns. I think as we're going through the pandemic, obviously the understanding our customers, making sure that they're able to survive, where we can assist them to survive, I think it was area of focus. As we come out of this now, it's asset quality and understanding a return to profitability. I think we operate in many different markets, and clearly, I think all of us can see that we are operating in I call it a global economy that has a multi-speed recovery. And so it's really trying to understand how all these pieces come together, understand the commodity prices, supply chains, obviously coming from Asia. We tend to be the manufacturing, operation for much of the world's goods. And so supply chains, shipping, a lot of different things start to impact us. So it's really just getting close to our customers, understanding what needs to be done, how quickly, who we can support as the economy opens up, and how to do it in a responsible manner. I think the other area is around cybersecurity. I think one of the interesting parts of the whole pandemic was this move to operate remote, and as you operate remote, clearly within a building that you control, you are able to manage, I call it the security features, harden the entire operation, security of the data lines and everything else. When you start moving through people's personal homes, some of those issues, they're addressable, but become much more of a challenge. So cybersecurity clearly has been an issue. We've seen, some of the implications and the ransomware attacks, different parts of the world. And I think that's the one area that all of us are spending a lot of time on. So again, working with our customers, understanding the asset quality and the cybersecurity IT issues that have arisen because of how we've looked at it, operating during the pandemic.
And so moving into 2022, how do you see risk and risk managers and indeed the whole function evolve to meet these challenges that you just mentioned?
Well, one thing that's quite interesting is, many of the changes that occurred during the pandemic, the technology changes in particular. I think many people thought that, well, we all expected that those things would happen over time. The speed that we were able to adapt new ways of doing business, new ways of operating, I think caught a lot of people surprised. Things that we thought would take maybe 5 or 7 years to do were suddenly done by necessity in 6 to 12 months. People completely reoriented their minds. And this showed the importance of all people, including risk, to operate in a much more agile way. I think the other part that really comes up and that highlights, this idea of agility is we need to be able to make decisions very fast. So data-driven, actionable intelligence, being able to holistically and proactively identify emerging trends, not just from a historical context or what happened yesterday or last week or last month, but to be able to project it out. How do I think the economy is going to recover? Which industries will be the telltales that come out faster, which ones will emerge slower. And it's really trying to get into this, this conclusive analytics, I'll call it, and being able to get some hard facts to be able to manage where we are, where we're going, and how we want to adjust as we go forward. And I think probably the other big part is this whole engagement with the customer and the customer experience. Now, we often talked about it in the past, but it took on a completely different context during the pandemic. And these are things as we go forward that are obviously going to continue. I think even our customers have gotten used to be able to not have to go down to a physical branch or not have to come to an office. Be able to digitally transfer data, documents, engage with their support staff, their contacts within the organization. I think these are all things that are going to continue and probably accelerate how we are going to reposition our businesses and the channels going forward. Now, coming through that obviously is just this whole idea of enhancing cybersecurity and operational resilience. I don't think that's going to go away. I think particularly on the as we start to build more digital channels and look at what is a seamless service for our customers, that's going to present new issues that we're going to have to come to grips with in a faster and faster way. So I think the acceleration of digitalization, acceleration of IT development and platforming, and the resilience of that platforming and other ways of serving customers in the traditional channels. And then I think the other one, over the last couple of weeks, we've all been talking about what happened in Glasgow, and this idea of ESG and sustainability, and the expectations around what financial institutions, what role they can and should play, and the uncertainty that we all have with sustainability in the transitioning strategies that likely will become more dominant, which ones are going to be faster, slower, and in developing part of the world where we have both mature, developing and emerging economies, trying to balance the environmental elements with the social responsibility, making sure that people's livelihood or their ability to pull themselves out of a pretty basic engagement, the work that they're doing. I think that's something that, again, all of us are going to have to understand better and better as we go forward. There are going to be implications to all of us. And so if we don't really get our strategy centered around sustainability, embedding it into the organization, I think there's going to be some real challenges and potential issues that we're going to have to increasingly deal with, whether at the government level, societal level, or within their organizations, where, quite frankly, we have a lot of younger people who really want us to take a much more proactive approach. And I think I'd probably say the one that we always talk about around our people and prioritizing our people and embracing continuous learning becomes even more important as we go forward. If you're looking at this idea of greater agility, which means that people need to have the knowledge base to be able to decide what is a sound decision, how to make sound decisions in a rapidly evolving world. So this idea of getting people prepared, what we call future ready in Maybank, I think is going to be something that's quite critical as we go forward. So this, being able to manage sustainability and be future ready in that way, as well as technology and the changes that our customers are going to expect. So those are probably some of the main things that come to mind.
So Gilbert, I just wanted to reach back into the digital transformation trends that you previously mentioned. If you've read the news for the last couple of months, really you would have read about the metaverse and how it's coming into our lives, in the near future or so. How do you envision it transform the financial services industry, and what even is it?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those old dinosaurs, so I'm not sure I am the best to say what it could be. But we certainly understand what it's intended to be. And this is really to merge technology, the interoperability of different applications and services that can help people in their day-to-day lives. It's this factor of convenience, this factor of being able to see and do things that previously you would physically have to go out and do. From our perspective, this can benefit, let's say, the customer experience quite dramatically. It's how do we engage with the customer? Do we do it purely through a branch channel or a pure digital channel, which may not have the same human touch, right? So I think really at the end of the day, we can digitize a lot of things, but if the human touch is lost, will we be as successful as how people like to interact when they go down to the branch? And so I think this metaverse gives the opportunity for us to create these near life experiences, real life experiences in engagement with customers, with our staff, through the pandemic, it's also been quite clear that staff do feel isolated at home. But these working arrangements now can be something which is more real life and realistic. Will it replace human face-to-face contact? Probably not, but it can certainly make it a lot easier for us to engage and see things. In Maybank, we talked about building a control room with VR equipment, so you could be anywhere in the world and essentially find yourself in the same space as everybody else, looking at the same information up on whether it's in the boards or however you want to manifest it. And I think the tools that come out of the metaverse will start to create these windows where we can see and do things much faster than, say, what would have been a monthly committee meeting. And I think that time to decision, that time to experience is going to be a big differentiator for all of us as we go forward. Where using an old cliche, time really is money, and if you can do it faster, smarter than anybody else, you probably will succeed better. I think it also allows employees, to engage, to learn differently and better than they have in the past. I think it will give us advantages if we do it well to glean insights, whether the internal or external with their customer or how the economy is evolving, to be able to maybe price better, to do things differently than other competitors who may not be as advanced in these areas. The other big place that I think we are already seeing some potential uses is in what I call the digital marketplace. In Maybank, we've built something called Sama Local, which is a way for our customers to advertise their services, but also to, we're looking to expand it into the SME realm. Again, many are doing it, but this is really how you try to build, a way for people to connect, which may not have been as accessible as in the past. Now, all this is going to require, a lot more investment in understanding data privacy issues, cybersecurity. I mean, anytime we start getting into these areas, regulations will have to change, and we really don't know how that's going to work. But I think this becomes a very exciting space for opportunities and potential for us to go well beyond what we have done traditionally as an organization.
And indeed, I wanted to end on a positive note, considering how many risks you deal with in your professional life. But what is it that you are looking forward to in 2022 and indeed beyond? Is it technologically related?
Listen, I've said many times, coming towards the end of my career, but it would be great to start your career now, because there's so many things that are just around the corner. It's the things that we've been talking about, the acceleration of technology, the quantum computing we thought would be still 10 years away. There are elements of it that are likely going to be brought, into a more practical application much sooner. The interoperability of services and products we were just talking about. I think all of those things are again, very creative. The idea of sustainability, or ESG, the social elements of ESG, where you can make your services much more universally applied to people who were previously underbanked. Again, we talked about those. I think all of those are extremely exciting when you think that you can actually help people, improve themselves, with the advent of some of the technology that they would not have had access to before. I think the opportunities to learn, the engagement, how you can really help people to succeed, our staff, really relating to our staff, how you can help them succeed better with proper training, proper exposure, and give them the opportunities to move around the organization in a much more virtual team manner, the agile approach that we talked about earlier. I think all these possibilities and transformations in the post-COVID world, again, I think it's quite exciting, and my hope is that we embrace it for the positive good, and I just think it's a brave new world, to kind of quote an old book.
Actually, my husband is reading that book, so But yes, thank you very much for joining me today and for sharing your insights.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.